Murder Mystery X was a breakaway game of Murder Mystery 2 made by then community manager of Murder Mystery 2, Jordy. The game was released on December 1st, 2017 and was a massive success. The game reached a peak player count of almost 11,000 players in the first week of release, becoming one of the most popular games on the platform in a short amount of time. However, in the following year, player counts on Murder Mystery X slowly began to drop. It dropped to roughly 4,500 active players in late January of 2018. In the following years, it trickled all the way down to 24 players during peak hours. How could a game this successful become practically irrelevant in the public eye in such a short amount of time? It all begins with a Dutch Roblox player named Jordy. Jordy has had his ties with Murder Mystery 2 stretching all the way back to October of 2015. He was a community manager and was supported by the fanbase. Murder Mystery 2 is a game that puts players into a map and they all get a certain role. Players can either be innocent, sheriff, or murderer, and the objective is to find and shoot the murderer. Players can get collectibles in the game such as knives, guns, and pets. Jordy's role was to help players who got scammed and make a functioning value list for the game's collectible knives and guns. Jordy made a group called Murder Mystery Prestiges to help with his efforts. Further support for Jordy continued until March of 2016. A fan suggested that Jordy should get a special name tag for his efforts. Nicholas replied stating he already had one in the testing servers. Jordy later got an official name tag for his efforts as a community manager. He continued to develop the community for the rest of the year. Things stayed the same until September of 2017. Jordy made a tweet stating that he has a project that is currently being developed. In his following tweets later that year, he leaks images of the game and asks for texture designers to help him. Updates on his project would continue to be leaked until November 9th of 2017. The project would be named Murder Mystery X and had an official release date of December 1st, 2017. Upon release, Murder Mystery X was a massive success. On the third day of release, the game had reached a peak of 11,000 active players and 2 million visits on the fourth day. This can be attributed to the hype created after leaking his project and the massive presence that Murder Mystery 2 already had in the public eye at the time. Several of the largest Roblox YouTubers such as It's Funny, Dennis, Ant, and more were making videos about Murder Mystery X. The reason why Jordy wanted to make a standalone game for Murder Mystery 2 was because of the lack of meaningful updates in it. He thought that there could be more done with the concept, so he played around with it. Murder Mystery 2 is notorious for infrequent updates at the time for even small things like a new collectible. Jordy wanted to expand on the idea of Murder Mystery 2 by making several new game modes and unique collectibles for the new game. These game modes would be the regular idea except with a twist. In Sheriff Madness, it's a fight to the death style game mode where everyone would be sheriff and fight each other. In the same fashion, Massacre is the same concept but with murderers. There are other unique game modes that were added to the game. These additions to the game help make Murder Mystery X a competent standalone game with an overall enjoyable experience. Murder Mystery X continued its momentum all the way into 2018. The game experienced an overall decline in activity as time went on due to the massive decrease in initial hype for the game. The game was settled around 2,000 to 3,000 active players, but the updates were still consistent and the game had an active fan base. On March 29th, 2018, Green Lego Cats 123 made a video about Jordy exposing him for some pretty serious stuff. In the video, Green Lego Cats discussed things that Jordy was doing with a minor whilst showing proof of his actions. This happened only about 4 months after Murder Mystery X was officially released, and this severely stunted the growth of the game. Big YouTubers stopped making videos about the game and Jordy's reputation was ruined. After the video was created, Jordy became silent on Twitter and all other forms of social media. However, this did not stop the development of the game, as the dev team stayed consistent with updates bringing new content to the game. Although the updates on the game were consistent, the player count was still dropping. This was due to the overall public interest in the game dropping severely on top of the lack of promotion. On May of 2019, the game dropped from 2,000 active players to 617. The player count kept falling, and on April 13th, 2020, it reached an all-time low of 35 active players. There's a spike in interest for the game after the pandemic started, but that was short-lived, and the game got back to an average of 35 players later that year. It got so bad to the point where there was only 4 players online on January of 2022. The game averages roughly 24 active players current day. The reason why Murder Mystery X failed can be attributed to multiple reasons. Murder Mystery X could not hold the public interest for long because of the lack of promotion for the game. People were moving back to more established games like Murder Mystery 2, and on top of Jordy's ruined reputation, a solution for the game's downfall was seemingly unachievable. However, the dev team still keeps the game updated despite the now small community for the game.